Hi Flosstube, it is Helen D, and today we are back to finish the toppers for the winter berries. This is the last of the 4 seasonal berry charts that we did in 2022 for our berry stitch along. On the back of the charts, Linda Stoltz with Erica Michaels kind of shows how she put them together. I've come up with something, a couple are similar, one's different, just to kind of give you some ideas of different things that you can do for your toppers. So that is the chart. My berries are all stitched up. I gotta figure out where you guys are. They're all stitched up and I already put them into their berry shape. I do have a tutorial for that I will link below. I do like Linda Stoltz suggests where I leave the top, I don't cinch it all the way up. This gives you a nice wider kind of top to put your berry on. So mine are all sewn up, and then when I do that I leave that long string that you cinch it together. I leave that long string and just wrap it around so that when I'm attaching my top it's already there and ready for me. So to make the toppers today I'm using the wool pack that Karen of Ruby Mountain Dye Works put together for us. This is the winter berry pack. Makes sense, it's the winter berries. I have already gone through and done some cutting just to kind of speed this up and so that you guys don't need to see me get up and iron 100 times. I have a sheet, a template sheet on my website if you need that. And I use that, I'm reaching, I have a little folder, strawberry templates, and this is where I keep. I have my clear strawberry templates themselves that I've cut out from vinyl, and I just put a sticker on them to tell me which size. And then I have a variety of parts that I've used just to make my toppers. When I have my shape of how I want, I then use freezer paper, which is waxy on one side and plain on the other. And this you can iron right onto your wool with the waxy side down. Iron it on, then you can cut around it and it gives you a nice tight cut, and then you just peel it off. That's why this one is so fuzzy, because you can reuse it several times until it no longer sticks. So that's what I've done to prepare. I'm going to move those. So I thought we will just start kind of assembling these. We'll start with this one first. This one is the one I'm doing something a little different. I'm going to put together a topper with one of the snowflake doilies that my mom made me. It matched perfect. It's just the right size. You can buy little doilies like this on Etsy, or you could buy a pattern to make your own, or have someone you know, like your mom, make your own. I found this little pattern last year and she made me a bunch, so it's going to tuck right on there. And then I found a little blue button in my stash. It's one of those with the underneath, which would normally stick up too much, but I think it's going to tuck right in there. So when I do my berry toppers, I do the berries, I put them all together in this form. Then I kind of set them aside. Then I make the toppers and then I sew them on. So we're going to go through and make the toppers. We'll start with this one. So what I'm going to do is I've got a needle just with some white floss. As I've said before, I use the sulky floss because that's what I have. If you don't have it, you don't need to buy it specifically for this. That's what I have, so that's kind of what I use. I put a knot on the bottom, and I'm just going to center this as best I can on here and just kind of tack it down in a few places, kind of right on these points. I'll come up through, make sure my knot's big enough. Yep. And just kind of go over, just to tack it down. Normally when I do a doily on top, I kind of tack it on each of the points and then just once in each of the center, like in between the points. So I'm just gonna zip around. And I've noticed that you can't really see the floss where I'm tacking, it blends right in. So that's convenient. I didn't cut this thread very long, so we'll see if we have enough. Getting close, but I got 2 more points. Oh, it's gonna be close. I think so. One more. So once I get this on, then I'm just going to sew that button on, obviously with a new piece of floss. And this just holds it in place so that it's not going to go anywhere. It doesn't have to be super duper. I don't have enough. I was hoping I'd have enough to then just put that button on, but I don't. So to end it, I just kind of take a little bite underneath. Then I'll go through again and go through my circle to make a knot. I don't worry too much about what the bottoms look like because you're not going to see them. So we'll get another piece. I got a really long one because we'll just use it on the next berry. So put my knot back in, and then we'll put that button on. I'm going to zoom you in a little. Okay, so like I said, I want this to just come up right in the middle. I don't know what you call these. Is this a shank button? I'm not sure. I'm hoping I can go through it a couple times to really hold it in place and still be able to see what I'm doing. Because this is the kind of thing that my cats would go for. There we go. All right, so just go through this one more time and then this one will be done. Perfect. So again, I'll just take a little bite if I can, and then go through and make a knot. Topper number 1, done. So that will go on this berry. So I'll set that aside. All right, the next one I pulled together. It's going to look something like this. This is for the winter monochromatic one. I ended up inversing what she had from the chart. She did a white floss on a blue fabric. I didn't have any blue fabric that I really thought matched that the white was going to show up on how I wanted it to show up. So I thought instead I would do a white floss with a blue fabric. I'm pulling these off because I was trying things out before I hit play. So I think I have an idea of what I'm doing there. So what I decided on this one, I cut out my regular scallop and then I cut out a teeny tiny scallop. This one's probably 1.5 inches, about 1.5 inches. And I'm going to sew this one, I'm going to layer it up and sew this one onto this one. But what I thought I would do to just kind of give it a little extra something is I have a few white beads, a larger white bead. So when I come through each of these scallops, I'm going to put a bead on. So it's not really going to line up with, like, the scallop lines are kind of the same. So I'll try and line them up, but they're not perfect. So I'm going to come up through with my knotted thread, pick up a bead, be grateful that it fit on my needle, and then go back through right where they connect. I'll hold that closer on the next one. Then go over to the next one. So coming right through just a little bit up on the scallop line, come through, pick up my bead, and then go back through just over the edge. And then that bead will pop right on there. Just, I thought it would give it a little extra bling. So I think there's 8. I think there's 8. I'm going to have to knock out a few more beads. I kind of went through all of my things to see what do I have that's wintry that I could add on to these. And I found some buttons and some charms and just little extra things. I'm not big on ribbons and bows. You could easily add those on. I make terrible bows, so that's part of the reason. This one's kind of weird, so I'm going to knock out a couple more. These beads aren't even anything special. Honestly, I got them at Goodwill. I found this container with these random beads in it. They're not Mill Hills. They're nothing fancy. They're just white beads. So we'll get all these on here. Last one. And then I have a snowflake button that I found. That I thought I would sew in the middle. And this is just a little plastic button. So I'm going to come right up through with the same thread. Because again, no one's going to see the bottom. So if it's messy down there, big deal. It's going to get all covered in. There we go. So I'll come through a couple times. 3 if I can find the hole. Oh good. I was going to say if I can find the hole easily, we'll do 3. So it's not quite centered. I'm going to put some pins and stuff up there after, so it's good with me. Come through the bottom, make a knot. One other thing I thought I would do on this one is I have this enamel sparkly snowflake charm. I'm going to put that on here with a bulb pin, which you can usually find in like the quilters section. I got mine on Amazon. It was a whole container, a lifetime supply of bulb pins. But what I want to do, I don't want to see the head. So what I'm going to do is actually put the pin on underneath so that it pokes out. Like I want the bulb to come through. So I poked it through on the back so that then my bulb is down here. So now I'm going to layer up some beads and things. So I'm going to put one of those white beads and then my snowflake charm and then another one of those white beads and see how that looks. Yeah. So then I have to tuck this pin head kind of underneath where I put them together and back out the other side, so that then I'm pinning it so it's pinned underneath, but then it will hang down on the front. And if it's not hanging, let's see, I kind of want it to hang flat, so I may need to play with it a little bit. And what I could do is actually sew it down so that I put a little stitch right here so that it hangs nice and flat. So I might play around with that a little more. See if I like it. I may not like it. It might be too much. I'll take that off for now. Now when I take it off, all that stuff's going to come off. But that way I thought it would be kind of just a little something extra. I may not need it because with these, and then I'm going to put pins on it, it might be a little much. So, but that's an idea if you want to hide something on a bulb pin. So that one is good for now. It's going to go in this one. So then the last one is for this red bird. I cut out a white topper. This was included in the pack, and this one is just a regular craft felt. It's not a felted wool, because in order to get a true white, you can't get a true white once you've kind of done stuff with it. So this one is regular craft felt. And then I'm going to do kind of what they showed here on this one. So I'm going to cut a square so that it will kind of cover two of my points. And I'm going to use this blue. So I have this little ruler thing, and I've measured it to cut off two, and it's going to be 1/8 of an inch shy of 2 inches. So that's what I'm going to try and cut out. So I'm going to come in here. I'm not used to this particular kind of ruler. So if I go 2 inches, trying to figure out, like I said, this is a quilting ruler and I'm not. So in and down. I would use like my friction pen, but they've been commandeered by my son, so this is what I have. I'm not even sure if it's showing. Not great. Let me see. Here's a pink one. Let's see if that one's... I just don't want to show at the top. I'm gonna wing it. Might have to square it up after. All right. Let's see how we did. Not good. So I want it so that it reaches over here. Boys commandeering my stuff. Let's try again. All right, at least I can see that one. There we go. So that will kind of be covering all the points. It's a little wonky right here. So now I have to tack that down. I don't know if I have a blue floss that'll match that. If not, I'll use white. I'll be using white, which just means my stitches will show, so I'll have to be a little careful. Put my knot back in. Then this one I also found a wooden snowflake button that I'm going to sew on. So they show theirs on the chart with a blanket stitch. I'm not a very good blanket stitcher, so I'm just going to use a whip stitch and go around the edge. So line that up. I don't want to start the corner. So I'll just go around. This might be boring for you to watch, but I'm probably going to go around every quarter-ish of an inch and just put a little tack. I don't know if I want to do the corners or not. The corners will end up having a pin on them or a stitch. I'm going to go through the corners. I just decided. So I am going to go around the corner and up the other side. So I'll just go around this edge and then put that button on. I do have some pins and things. When we put these together, Carla from Cobweb Corner got us the Just Another Button Company pins that she used in the charts. So I have those to kind of add on as well. But I put the pins in once I have the toppers sewn on. If you've been with me for all of these charts, then you've seen this. It's kind of more of the same. That is the thing about berries, is once you've made a few, you're used to the process of how the toppers go, so then you're able, I think, that's why I like them, to kind of experiment a little and try some different things. Yep, thread came out. All right, I have this on there enough now to hold it that I'm going to sew the button on, and then you guys don't need to watch me sew the rest of the sides on. So this wooden button is going to go right here in the middle. So I'm just going to come right in and sew that on. Go through that a few times. Good to go. So I'm going to go in now and finish sewing on this piece of blue. Then I'm going to attach two of my toppers, and then I will come back to you and we'll put the third one on together, just so that you get a little refresher, if you need it, of how to sew them on. And then we'll put on all kind of the extra bits and bobs that we're going to show at the end. So I will be right back. Okay, I am back. These two are all tacked on, and then I have one left, and I did decide that I did want to try again with that charm, so I poked it through kind of right under one of the small scallops, put the pin in, put the stuff on, and then poked it back through just like I had done before. And then I'm going through on the back, and I did this all from the back. I kind of put my knot in, went through the pin, went around the pin, and I'm just taking a little bite to hold that pin down to one side so that it will be where I want it. So I just went through a couple times. Now I'm going to try and end this thread. And that way it's kind of, it'll kind of dangle off the edge. So to attach the topper to your berry, we have this long string that we left, so I kind of undo that. You have to decide where you want, which angle you want the topper to be. Like this one with this charm, I have to decide where do I want that charm to fall. And I think I'm going to want it kind of just off to the right or the left. This is off to the left, a little in the front, and that's going to work for me. So you kind of put your topper where you think you might want it. And then I just use some pins to just pop it in there, hold it in place, and then you can adjust, right? If now you look at it and you're like, that is crooked, you can just take one of the pins out, you know, adjust it how you need to and put the pin back in. So for these, that long string, when we put them together, is usually right in the back by the seam, which is just where you want it, because it's easiest to hide. We use our giant doll needle, and then I like to start, again, right where that string has ended on the back. I line a scallop of my topper right up to that string, and then I kind of hold it in place. I take my doll needle, it's underneath, right? It's underneath the topper. I take a little bite right through, just a little tiny, I don't know, 1/16 of an inch, and I'm going to poke straight through to the opposite side. I have to kind of flop that charm out of my way. And as you can see, it takes a couple pokes to get it where you want it to be, because you kind of want it right there so that you have just a little bite. Pull that through, and then I just rotate and I keep going. So now the side with the annoying charm, go back up, take just a little bite. I usually go clockwise to the next scallop, line it up, pull through. There, now that thing can fall where it wants and it won't be in my way. So you do this all the way around. Sometimes they go perfect the first try, sometimes they don't. And the giant doll needle really does make this a lot easier, because you don't have to worry about losing it in there. I got mine, I believe, on 1-2-3 stitch. I think mine is a 4 or 5 inch. Honestly, a 3 inch would be fine. This is just what they had. Now, once you get it on there enough, if these pins are in your way, just take them out. They've done their job. It's my last one up here. And I have one more in the back. So go back through to the last one. Now when I get to this last one, we have to tie it off in a knot. And that is what the doll needle is not good for, because it's too big. Always wants to knot up right on the last one, right? So I'm going to take that doll needle off. I had a small needle down here. Now I'll have to find it. I'm going to take a small needle. Put that on there. And then for this last one, I will come down through with my little bite and kind of go right out in the same spot that my thread currently is. Pull that through, and that will make the securing loop to hold it on there. So now it's going to be on there. And then I'm just going to take just a teeny little bite of the, in my case, even weave. I didn't go through the topper at that point. I just went through the even weave. I'm just making a loop so I can tie a knot. So I'm going to knot that off and then go back in and poke out through somewhere in the top. And what this does is it buries my extra thread. So now when I snip this off, that charm. If I kind of just give it a little tug, when I snip, it kind of pops right down in so you don't see it. So there's that one with its little charm. So then that last thing is if you want to put some kind of little extra bits and bobs. I do have 2 packs of buttons from just another button company. These are the 2 that she used on the models, and they're listed on the chart what packs they are. There we go. So let's dump these out and see what we want to use. And then I also thought for this one, another trick that Erica Michaels, Linda Stoltz, uses on her berries is she will come in right on the scallop with a pearlized head pin and just pop it right in there to kind of give it a little extra. Now again, this might be too much given that I already have beads on the top, but I'm going to put them in there anyway and see if I like it, because if I don't, they're really easy to take out. So I would say if I'm going with these and the beads and the charm, this one's going to be done. It's not going to need anything else. So there is that one all blinged up. So then one of the bead packs had this cute cardinal in it, which goes perfect on the cardinal. So this can kind of tuck in there, and I might put him in there. And let's see, there was some snowflakes and a snowman and this fun like bluish snowflake thing. So I might just pop a couple in there, and then that one can be done. And then this one, if it needs anything, you might decide you don't want pins in there. But if you do, just pop a couple in there. So this one, maybe I'll give just a couple snowflakes to. And then if you have extras, you have them extra for your next berry. So there we have my winter berries. I can set them out for the season. And I have completed all 4 charts of the seasonal berries. A huge thank you to everyone who went on this seasonal berry journey with me and got them done this year or started, or if it was your first berry and you're just trying it out, I hope you love them as much as I do. I just kind of tuck them in with different smalls and I really enjoy them. So thank you guys very much.